What's up, YouTube? I'm Joel Wanasek. I'm a professional mixer and co-founder of URM Academy. For those of you who are interested in learning how to mix professionally, check out the coolest place on the internet, nailthemix.com. Today, I'm going to react to and break down the mix of Levitating by Dua Lipa. Now, some of you are probably thinking like, Joel, aren't you a rock guy or something like that? Now, I mix everything. I listen to everything. I love pop music. This is a great mix. Let's break it down and see why this works. First thing right out of the gate, the most predominant element of this mix is the kick and bass, especially the bass guitar. The bass guitar is almost mixed like disco, where it's like very kick and bass heavy, nice big round bottom. And I like that. It's like vocals, kick and bass, everything else in this mix is secondary. I mean, it's a pop song, right? You want to get people dancing in the club, moving, grooving. So one thing that I think is super interesting is listen to the downbeat verses 2 and 4 very carefully to the bottom end. If you noticed, the accent is not on the downbeat of this song, but there's actually a little bit of mix weight on 2 and 4. So like when the kick drum comes in on the downbeat, it's solid, but there's like an extra bit of bottom end sauce on beats 2 and 4, which kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. It creates a totally different feel for this song. And I think it's a great mix decision, and probably it started with the producer because it gives it a different feel. A lot of music has a downbeat focus where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of got a different swing to it as opposed to 1, 2, right? So I like how that's placed in the mix. Listen to that very carefully in the chorus.
I want you, baby. My sugar boo. I'm levitating. The Milky Way. We're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Moonlight. You're my star.
Another thing that really stands out is the claps, right? Like the hand claps and the amount of bottom end that they have and the way they connect to the kick and to the bass in this song. The kick drum doesn't have a ton of sub. The bass has a lot of sub, but it's very tight. So it's definitely filtered, probably heavily compressed. And the kick drum is nice, tight, and punchy, and it's expertly locked together in terms of the frequencies. And then you have the clap, which is like the high-end extension of the upper bass. And when you hear all of those hit on 2 and 4, it sounds massive and it just adds the weight. So listen to how the clap interacts with the kick and the bass.
I need you.
Sounds awesome. Okay, so now let's pay attention to the top end of the mix here, like the cymbals, ear candy, percussion, things like that. First thing I heard is the cymbals are actually mixed kind of down. It's not that important because this is pop. You have a lot more space than if you're doing, for example, like rock music, where you have all this distorted guitar. So you don't need as much drum cymbal energy to kind of cut through the mix, at least the way that this song is mixed. It's more kick drum and bass focused, which creates the groove. Let's hear the baby's feet on this.
Debating on it. I'm still levitated, I'm heavily medicated. Ironic, I gave him love and they end up hating on me. She told me she loved me and she been waiting, been fighting hard for your love.
Well, I heard that plosive there that they didn't high pass out high up. The baby's voice to me sounds heavily compressed, a little bit of saturation, very top end. There's like a nice air to it and a nice bit of sheen. Like sometimes in mixing, what we'll do is we'll take like an EQ and we'll crank up higher than the human hearing band. So an ear can hear like 20 hertz to about 20,000, depending on how old you are. That frequency goes down. But after 20,000 hertz, you're kind of getting to like dog whistle land. Sometimes we'll take an equalizer and we'll add treble up in that area to kind of add like a I can't mouth out the correct sound, but it adds like a breathy air. And I definitely hear some of that going on the voice. Listen carefully to the feet here.
And I'm running thin on my patience. Needing someone to hug, even took it back to the basics. You see what you got me out here doing? Might have threw me off, but can't nobody stop the movement. Let's go. Left foot, right foot, levitating. Pop stars, do it.
You hear that crisp top end in there? Often people relate that with like a vocal mic being very expensive sounding. So that's kind of how they get that. It's a little bit of top end EQ up there.
With the baby. I had to lace my shoes for all the blessings I was chasing. If I ever slip, I fall into a better situation. So catch up, go put some cheese on it, get out and get your bread up.
Okay, let's talk about some of the synths in this mix. Okay, there's like that pulsing wah, 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 wah thing. There's a couple of other things in the chorus, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But pay attention to the synths. All of the elements synths in the mix. And usually pop songs are very dense. Like there'll be like 100 to 200 tracks. There's a lot of synths and a lot of layering that pop producers usually like to do. And the synths in this mix are actually mixed kind of down. They're not really that prominent. They don't stand out. They don't pop. Like in the chorus, for example, there's a high string that comes in. And it's just there to add a little bit of ambience to kind of fill up the frequency space. It's not there to get in the vocals. It's not there to necessarily make things sound really big and pop, but just add that element to kind of jump out. So listen to how the synths work in this mix.
They always leaving you far, but you run together. Weight of the world on my shoulders, I kept my head up. Now baby, stand up, cause girl, you
want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my.
Hear that nice chord back there. So in that build up to the chorus, we had a little bit of guitar come in, right, to give it some more energy. And then we just have this like held out note in the back.
Starlight, I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating you.
And it's just kind of tucked in there gradually, so it adds a little bit of air and it lets that groove flow around it. And I like that there's not a lot of note movement in the background synths, because if there was, it'd be hard to mix because there's counter melodies. Instead, it's just kick, bass, clap, a little bit of percussion, a little bit of synth that's in there subtly, and it's all vocal. Okay, now let's analyze the main vocal.
Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly.
Couple points. So what's interesting, she's singing in the mid-range, and there's actually like a lot of like 1 to 2K in the voice in the way that it's mixed. It's not mixed super airy like the Baby's was earlier. But when she hits those really high notes and she kind of opens up her voice a little bit, what you hear is some of that air gets mixed in. So it's pretty cool how it's been mixed. If you'll notice, the vocal is very mid-rangey, but then all of a sudden on the high notes and some of the things where she opens up, it just catches a nice breath of air, and it sounds awesome.
Fly away with me tonight. So you can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating.
Right there, when she says levitating, it sounds super breathy, super airy, but the vocals before it are very mid-rangey. And what that does is it takes the payoff, which is the name of the song, and it just gives it something sonically to catch your attention for a half second, because you have contrast. You have a vocal that sounds one way, and then all of a sudden the EQ opens up on top, and now you have something that sticks out, grabs your ear. Maybe if you're at like the grocery store or shopping or something, listening, not paying attention, it grabs your ear, piques your attention, and locks you in to the title of the song. Brilliant mixing.
You can fly away with me tonight. So you can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you.
I like the subtle vocal dubs. There's almost like a choir of backing vocals in there, and they're not mixed loud, but you can really feel the weight. They sound really rich.
For a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket with your blast off, and I'm feeling so electric, dance on our song. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket with your blast off, and I'm feeling so electric, dance my ass off.
There's a lot more synths here. Now, this is interesting. As you think about the mixed decisions, right? So in the chorus and the most of the song, the synths are kind of down, but in the bridge, you go to this freestyle kind of part and the synths come up, right? The track opens up and you have more of the synth, especially like the bomb, 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 like that pulsating synth that's kind of a motif that repeats in the rest of the song. It's cool because it gives it a different energy and vibe. And it's like, hey, here's the bridge, right? You can know it's the bridge because it's produced where it catches your ear that way, because the balances change in terms of what's featured and what's focused.
And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating.
I like how the bottom end changes here. It goes from hip hop, like a hip hop feel, from more of like a disco feel, right? So it's kind of hard to explain. Like the bottom end isn't as massive, but it's very hip hop. So it still sounds big, but it's more subdued because it's a little breath here in the bridge. You couldn't come in with a massive bottom end and blow it out and then go into a chorus after this and have the chorus sound weaker. So it's kind of neat how that's mixed, where they've been able to take something that normally, that 808 kind of bottom would just blow out the entire mix if it was cranked up. You could really make that awesome and aggressive, but it's really subdued.
The Milky Way, we're renegading. I got you, moonlight, you're my
Hear that nice air on the voice?
starlight. I need you all night.
Love the reverb too.
Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating. You can fly away.
Great song. Great mix. No wonder it was a massive hit. If you enjoy this stuff, please click the like button and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this mix. If you think it's cool, you like it, you don't like it. And of course, what other songs you'd want me to break down. Any genre, I love it all. I'm just a fan of music. So if you want to learn how to actually mix, please check out nailthemix.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.